Everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined as always by Matt Morgan. Matt, how's it going, man?
What's going on, guys?
So, interesting show tonight. We've got Raj who's going to hop on and join us in a bit. But tonight we have Monday Night Raw for November 14th, 2016. This is the Go Home Before Survivor Series. And we also have the State of the WWE special that was on the network immediately following Raw, which was different. Matt, what's your take on that? Maybe
I absolutely loved it. At first, I was thinking, well, here's why. Generally, you wouldn't like something like this because it'd be general managers and stars putting themselves over when they're not going to go in the ring and solve the conflict. But they answered what I had the biggest issue with, in the fact that the brand extension has not been broken apart long enough for us to give a crap about the red versus the blue and pride and all this other crap. But the egos of both general managers did its part, in my opinion, to make me care a little bit more. The fact that Shane is actually physically going to be in the match gives it a lot more. It makes it a lot easier for me to digest, because he will be part of solving the conflict, because he will be in the match. You know what I mean? It's like with TNA, when Dixie would put herself over on TV, people would be like, oh god, she's not even going to be in the damn match, who cares? Or Stephanie, burying all these guys, she's never going to be in a match, there's never going to be a payoff. Well, Shane being in the match, there will be a payoff, yada yada yada. So I liked it. Daniel Bryan was awesome. Oh my god, was he good. I love them talking about generate. We can get into so much of that, but it was phenomenal. Yeah. I loved it. No problem.
And I agree with you in the sense that I thought Daniel Bryan was great. He seemed authentic, but every time Stephanie McMahon would speak, it just seemed like the same contrived, Daniel Bryan's bringing up like real good points, about like, oh, well, Foley, you wanted to wrestle. You went to TNA. He said TNA in front of Stephanie McMahon. And then Stephanie would come back with like, oh, well, we're going to beat you guys at Survivor, like the same standard stuff, whereas Daniel Bryan seemed way more authentic. And so it was just a big disconnect, I thought. You're going from kind of authentic to totally contrived, and it ended up being, in my opinion, kind of pointless.
No,
I'm sorry. Go
the bottom line is, did this sprinkle pepper on the dish? And it definitely did, because last week we did not care about which team wins. I'm saying I care slightly more now, because of the points Daniel brought up, and the fact that there is an actual competitor in Shane McMahon in this talking head segment, at least. Usually the worst is when it's just the talking heads that will not go in the ring and do anything.
Right. Well, see, I felt like the angle at the end was hot enough that just leaving it at that was great. And then I just thought, we'll just have to agree to disagree at that. But I thought then that this segment, the state of the WWE or whatever, just kind of brought that down. But to your point, there was some good, and there were points made. But after 3 hours of Raw, I just thought minus
Stephanie, Daniel, and McFoley, who gets off track way too much and needs to be wrangled in. But that said, those two showed they gave a crap, and I believed it. I did. At times Mick can be, believable a little bit too much, but I thought he did his part at the end of the day, and so did Daniel. I thought they gave a crap, because those two gave a crap on both ends of the spectrum from both sides of the show. I gave a crap.
Yeah, it would have been so much better if it was just Daniel and Mick Foley, because Shane didn't add anything. He seemed like he was tired, and and Stephanie, but yeah, we'll get more into it when we're going down the show. But I thought Stephanie was just brought everything she was involved with. She brought it down tonight, and then it would get better once she was gone.
and Shane awkwardly segueing while Mick's talking about his charity work, and Shane saying, hey, can we get back to talking about wrestling?
Well, the question was about Daniel Bryan, like, could he work with Daniel Bryan? And then he went on this 5-minute tangent about Stephanie McMahon and how great she is with charities.
That's what he does.
Yeah. If you watch Talking Smack, tonight proved that Renee Young is the hero of Talking Smack, and tonight she even was not able to keep that on the rails. Because with Talking Smack, she keeps it reined in every week, and tonight, she seemed that she was just sort of a bystander there. So yeah, we'll come back to that in our recap. But let's dive into Monday Night Raw. So indeed, this was the go home show before Survivor Series. We're going to have SmackDown versus Raw this Sunday coming up on the WWE Network. And they keep saying, what was it? Fantasy warfare comes true. And I don't know, Matt, I know we talked about this last week. Seems tough to really label it sort of as these fantasy matchups that we were having week in and week out, 4 months ago before the brand split. But tonight they did some interesting stuff. So we literally had teams of rivals tonight coming together to do some fresh and interesting pair-ups on the Raw side of things. And then the centerpiece highlight of the show, aside from the end when Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon showed up, was the Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg sort of stare down that, of course, erupted into chaos. So, we opened the show and we had all hands on deck, sort of the cast coming out. The complete roster, and then that went quickly into a pep talk, and then the Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns versus Sheamus and Cesaro. Matt, what did you think of that matchup?
Solid, good. Was what it was. The whole show was what it was. Honestly, for me. But so as a go home to what they're trying to put this over as a huge pay-per-view that everyone should be seeing and can't miss. I could miss it. Honestly, I could miss it. The Goldberg Brock thing will not get any better than the entrances and the hype between them finally getting in the ring together. But then the old saying is, and then the bell rings, and I'm not going to care about that either.
Real quick, to your point about the fantasy warfare, that's really only about the Goldberg Brock Lesnar match. It's not about the whole. So? Yeah, it's not about the whole show. It's the one match. But you have Stephanie McMahon pretty much acting like the teacher again, saying you all are going to get in trouble if you don't win. I mean, it just makes these wrestlers look like total wusses. And again, I just thought everything Stephanie was involved with tonight brought the show down. I thought the show was pretty bad until the Lesnar segment, and then the end segment I thought was great. Again, once Stephanie came out and the SmackDown locker room came out, I thought that was really good. But the whole show, it's the same storyline in every match. It's the tag team partners not getting along, and they're doing it over and over. They're doing it on SmackDown. They're going to be doing it tomorrow night. Yeah. It's just the same thing. It's just so redundant that you don't really care who wins these Survivor Series matches. And I think if you focus more on the dream aspect of, of like, oh, you're going to get to see AJ versus Kevin Owens. And you had Kevin Owens calling out AJ and saying how he's better and he's going to show it at Survivor Series. And Bray Wyatt, saying he wants Braun Strowman because he turned his back. And that had been the running theme over the past few weeks. I think it would be way more interesting than just the same thing with just the tag team partners not getting along. They have to get along for some reason, even though there's no stakes.
Raj, how do you do that without any in-ring what in-ring action do you put on the show to do that? The promo-wise, I agree, that'd be awesome. What do you do, in-ring action-wise to get there? You give these guys just feature matches?
Well, yeah, you could still put them in tag matches, and you could find ways around it, but they like these guys are on the same team and they're facing, I don't know. I mean, I just think right now all they're doing is the guys on on the same team are facing each other and having a hard time getting along.
Yeah.
And you just have them wrestle and cut promos and calling out the other team.
The promos would be awesome, especially between Owens and AJ, and I would have loved that actually.
Yeah. That was the best part. The last segment was having that sort of face off.
I wanted more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was the best part, and that's where it felt like, okay, it's only been 4 months they've been apart, but now it was kind of fresh again with Jericho in the list, being able to take Ellsworth into the mix with the presence that he's become on SmackDown. I mean, there we saw that, okay, 4 months apart, now they have some fresh material to go at each other with.
That's the part that stuck out to you. The Ellsworth.
No, but
James Ellsworth. Listen, James Ellsworth, whatever his name is, cannot be hit by a bus fast enough for me.
No, dude. What I'm saying, Matt, is that, like I said at the beginning, right? Okay, so if we have this matchup of Survivor Series, forget Goldberg versus Lesnar, right? The idea that they're coming together, we talked about this last week. It's not Marvel versus DC. This isn't two universes colliding because the two universes are young. But when you saw Jericho start talking about the list and say, "Who's that guy over there?" we said, "Oh, hey, some stuff has actually happened since they've been apart from each other, and now this is like the only little fresh intersection they have, because other than that, we've seen it. We saw it at Battleground. We saw it at Money in the Bank. Every single matchup, at least it kind of said to me like, oh, hey, maybe some stuff has actually happened since the brand split that's going to make this not just feel like a repeat of the spring.
AJ and Kevin both being at the top of their brand, even though they've done stuff in the action, to me, it felt fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, with the belts, with the new championships, that
it did. Yeah, at the end segment, I thought really hit home that enough has happened since the brand split that the rosters do feel a little different. The rivalry still feels contrived because it hasn't been that long. There's no stakes, but yeah, the last segment I thought was hot.
Yeah. Well, good. We're all in agreement on that at least. So that being said, so yeah, we had that first match. We'll just go through this. Okay, so we had the backstage segment with the Scarf of Jericho. I enjoyed that.
I thought it was great.
I thought that was very funny.
I feel like they got to give Chris Jericho one last babyface run before he takes his next hiatus, because he is so over as a babyface right now that I think. Yeah. You have him and Kevin Owens feud, and I think I think Jericho could be more over as a babyface than at any point in his career.
Yeah, babyface. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
His most successful runs have been as a heel.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, and as a heel run, his last very what was that? Those type of promos he was cutting. Where he's very serious. He just,
with the suit.
That was awesome. That was a great remake of himself. He's like Madonna. He just keeps finding new ways to reinvent himself.
Yeah,
I've never seen him do it. I've never seen him do it as a babyface yet. Remember when he tried that one night when he came back to Raw and he was running around and he wouldn't talk once he got in the ring, and it just did not get over. And it was like a fart in church. It was bad.
But he was trying to heal. He was trying to heal the crowd though by doing that. By just waiting forever, like they're waiting for him to speak, and then he keeps just running around. But he was trying to get the crowd to turn on him. But yeah, this is his first real babyface run in since his Fandango feud.
So after that, we had the Sami Zayn versus Bo Dallas match, and I'm only really bringing that up tonight. I mean, one, it's great to see Sami Zayn, but I'll say this: I thought Bo Dallas with the beard, like. They could do something with this, maybe a new look, maybe get rid of the Bo Leave thing.
He needs to be doing his stuff with his brother. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Get him off here, go over there. I don't know. Jesus.
I don't know. There's been some think pieces published lately about this idea of with NXT's trouble, should there almost be a reverse drafting of some superstars back down to NXT? But I have to say, like, sort of Bo with the beard, he looked better tonight in his new gear. There's potential there, but of course they didn't really do anything with it.
Well, this is his first loss, right? Since they repackaged him or whatever you want to call it and gave him that Bo Dallas sign. Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that his push is over.
It was a mild. It wasn't even a push. This was a chance for him to look at his dad and say, "Look, we gave you another shot," and he sunk. I'm serious. That was not a push. Just because he won a couple matches, they weren't against nobody. But the thing is like, we need to be paying attention to with this whole segment was, I love Sami Zayn. I'm dying for him to finally get an opportunity as a babyface and do something with it. I want to see him win the Intercontinental title, honestly, as a fan. But he completely bombed in that post-match promo. That was horrible. He's trying to be cute. He's trying to be funny, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the problem in general with Raw right now is there's too much of that comedy and not enough, genuine promo and that WWE comedy. And I just don't think it works for Sami in it. And I thought it showed tonight.
You guys, let me ask you guys this really quick. I know we got to move on, but wouldn't you think like him doing like a Daniel Bryan type of babyface promo, like wrestling is so important to him? And I know it sounds corny, but like I would believe him from that perspective. You know what I mean? She's been a journeyman. He's been taking forever to get here. He's finally here. He's the ultimate underdog. He's great in the ring. Like, you know what I mean? Like when Daniel was first starting to become a babyface, you know what I mean? You believed in him. And when he would talk about wrestling, I always bought into him, Well,
right. There was probably an opportunity here not only to put himself over with that, but also to put the belt over more. I mean, he talked about wanting to bring the IC belt back at Survivor Series. but he could have talked about the history. And I think he did a promo like that once, didn't he? Or maybe it was with Daniel. No, pardon me. Daniel Bryan, in fact, did that, putting the IC title over, talking about the rich history of it. I think Zayn could have lifted from that tonight, talked about his own history, the history of the IC title, and really segued nicely into what's at stake for Survivor Series. Because Miz and Ziggler haven't really done that. They haven't really given the belt that sense of history.
Yeah.
You just don't feel like it's a big stakes match.
Yeah.
You want to see Sami Zayn win at the end of the day and bring it over.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're not going to be. And real quick for this Sunday on the podcast, it'll be Matt, Glenn, and myself. Vince is done watching WWE pretty much. He cannot watch Raw and pay-per-views anymore.
He finally broke.
He broke. They broke him.
So hang on. Let us really go over this, folks. You've heard it here first. Vince Russo literally cannot be paid to watch WWE Pro. Wow,
that's what it's coming out to. He had some tough stuff happen. He said he's realized it's too important, life's too important, and he's not gonna watch stuff he doesn't enjoy. So more power to him.
That's how rotten the state of WWE is.
Yeah. But yeah, so we won't get to ask you, but you think it's going to be Sami against The Miz or Sami against Dolph Ziggler? Because they're wrestling. It's Miz against Ziggler tomorrow night. The winner, is the Intercontinental Champ and faces Sami.
I want to see it be Ziggler. They both are such incredible sellers in the ring, but I don't know. Do you think Zayn would take over the audience? Like, would get more of the reaction than Ziggler would?
I think so. I think Ziggler's already cooled since he won the IC title.
Yeah, because it's okay. Then Ziggler. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ziggler will do an okay job with it. I think the Miz though could bring so much more heat to the match, just instantly.
Yeah, but I think Ziggler and Sami Zayn would be such a great match.
Yeah,
and to replace that, and again, no offense to Miz, because I think I'd rather have him as an Intercontinental Champion than Dolph Ziggler. But just that match, I'm really looking forward to it. So I'd be a little bummed with them putting it on the Miz. But I could easily see them doing it because I just feel like, you hear the criticism about Dolph Ziggler a lot, and I just feel like he hasn't risen since winning the title. He's kind of dropped.
And remember, this is the WWE, so literally right up until bell time, it could become a triple threat match at any moment.
Yeah, true.
We could easily see the three of them going against each other. So we had a Cruiserweight backstage segment. We'll talk about the match that led to.
I think it makes those guys look like a bunch of jabronis just hanging out there backstage.
Like they're segregated from the rest of the roster.
It's like the kids table.
Yeah, we give them a closet to get for their dressing room. I mean, yeah, they've not. I mean, for better or worse, right? I mean, I know they want the cruiserweights to be special, but I think they're special as in a lesser sense.
Yeah, purple ropes doesn't do it. You need more than that.
Yeah, definitely. But that was just weird. So we had the New Day versus Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, and Chris Jericho. Matt, what'd you think of that match and segment?
Same as the last question, yeah, about the last match.
It was what it was.
Was what it was. It's like we're just doing stuff to get to Survivor Series, I feel.
It was just killing time.
Yeah, it's what it felt like. I was happy to see Braun Strowman look like a little bit of a beast. He needs to not pull his straps down all the way, though, and try to bounce his boobs. That should be something he never does, ever.
Again, this is one of the big problems I think with WWE is the titles don't mean anything, and because of that, the matches mean so much less. And you're having New Day, they lose again. They lost last week clean. They lost this week for no real reason. You're not building challengers. I know you're trying to get the Raw team over, but you could have had them face, a trio of heels.
Yeah.
So I just think sacrificing your champs like that, it's just bad practice, and there's something they're going to keep doing, but it's a cause of a lot of their problems right now.
The story they're trying to tell across the board is the same for Raw. I mean, it's that every division is in complete disarray and at each other's throats, and they're supposed to come together to represent the brand. I mean, it just seems sort of like across the board, that's the story. And I feel like they've just been churning through that when we had variation on it last week, variation on this week with the matches, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like they could do more to get us invested.
Yeah, they're doing that same storyline pretty much every match.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to see it. I mean, actually, say with the Sami Zayn thing, at least they're talking about bringing a belt over now. With the cruiserweights, though, they are talking about the cruiser. So how's that going to work exactly? The cruiserweights will go to if it's Kalisto, right? That he's going up against. That Brian Kendrick's going up against. If Kalisto wins the cruiserweights, will go to SmackDown.
Yeah, and I think just with the way that stipulation's worded, it's such an odd stip. That because normally you just do the title match and then the cruiserweight title comes, you know, well, I guess you would have to move the division, but the fact that they're doing it makes me think that they are moving it to SmackDown because they got that 205 live show starting that's going to be taped right after SmackDown. So then having, you know, cruiserweights on Raw and then traveling to SmackDown again, I think it just makes it a lot more sense to have it on SmackDown since you're doing that 205 live show. So
I'm gonna bet you guys $1 million. That's exactly what happens. It's going to SmackDown.
Yeah, but it's going to be limited though to a 1-segment division on SmackDown. I mean, it's going to be that, and the women are each going to get 1 segment.
Right? Yes, I told you guys this at the very advent of the cruiserweights. It will decrescendo slowly but surely into a puff of air and then nothing.
Yeah. And but to be fair, they are going to have an hour after SmackDown. So,
but on the network,
on the network.
Hey guys, can you hear this noise? Because this is what I think of that. Everybody at home listening to this show and watching this show, close your eyes and tell me what this sounds like. That's what I think of that.
Yep.
Well, we got to put up the parental warning flag on this podcast.
With my cheek.
Okay, all right.
So Braun, Jericho, and Rollins beat the New Day. We had I'm just gonna kind of breeze through some of this. We had a backstage segment with Sasha and Charlotte. Sin Cara versus the Brian Kendrick, where they stipulated the cruiserweights. Brian Kendrick won that. Then we had Gallows and Anderson with Enzo and Cass.
Wait, I got to say this real quick too.
Oh,
one more thing about the cruiserweights with Sin Cara and Brian Kendrick. What's the point of having the cruiserweight division when the matches are exactly the same as the regular matches? The Sin Cara versus Kendrick was worked the same way as every other match on the show. A cruiserweight, you know, if you want to make it different, you should have a lot more high flying, a lot more dynamic, a lot faster pace. And this was just like every match on the show.
Yep.
I feel like we're just making a case here that basically like the WWE could just, you know, they could just recycle a highlight reel of previous episodes each week, maybe, and it'd be a little more dynamic.
I don't like Sin Cara in the cruiserweight division. He's not this Sin Cara. The real Sin Cara would have been dope. But not him. And I feel bad for the guys playing him, you know, but he's too big. He's too big. He doesn't do the flashy moves and he's not fast. He just looks like he's too big. It doesn't work right. You have Brian Kendrick who doesn't do the flashy stuff either. So now you have those two in the ring and it's just like exactly what you said. You know, it's just another early in the night match that I could see from WWE circa Attitude Era through now. Not even Attitude Era. I'm not even insult the Attitude Era with that. I'd say, I don't know, 2002 on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Post-invasion angle. Why not? Why not? Why isn't Neville in there? You know, at least.
I know. God, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Don't get it. He looks like $1 million. He's fat. I don't get it.
Very odd. It's very strange.
Not in the face does he look like $1 million for the record, but his physique.
He looks better with the beard also. It makes him look a little less like a wee little man from the Shire.
It looks like Tony Nese.
It looks like he should be in a garden chasing away squirrels. That's a garden gnome.
Neville could ignite a spark, and I think they need to do something soon because I just feel like it's just dying every week.
Yeah.
Entrance too.
Who's that?
I like his entrance is cool too. It makes him so I don't get it. I don't know what happened.
He's over all by himself. So, he's not over because of the booking, and so the fans react to him. It definitely makes. He's not, and they're not doing anything with him right now. So
So we had Gallows and Anderson in a segment with Enzo and Cass.
More comedy.
I thought that was good. It was entertaining. Versus the Shining Stars and Golden Truth. And that was what it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. So
I think
let's go to the big one, right? Let's go Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman and a row of security dividing the ring diagonally. Matt, what did you think of that segment?
I love Brock. Brock, that was 1000% Brock, like legit Brock Lesnar when he walked in the ring. The guys were in his way, and he just threw him.
That's great.
That's how we react. That's awesome. But the stuff with Paul was getting long in the tooth. It was getting annoying.
It was redundant.
And am I wrong here? But did Goldberg somehow get an accent?
Yeah, he was sound like he was trying to sound like Arn Anderson there.
Like, where did that come from?
Well, I guess living in Atlanta all these years, finally he's getting the slang.
Yeah, it was getting frustrating in there. But Goldberg makes the same exact facial expressions. He's added this new like half cool smiley face, kind of sort of does this cocky smile thing he does. But other than that, it was the same damn thing. But again, the entrance and the build up to it, I was excited.
I got to say, like they do this with Brock a lot where he teases he's going to get in the ring and then walks off. And then the stuff with Goldberg, he looked in great shape, by the way. I mean, he's not near as thick as he used to be, which it would be worrisome if he was as thick as he used to be. But Lesnar didn't look in as good a shape as he usually does. But
yes.
The thing that I thought made this segment great, and I thought this segment was great, was the crowd. The crowd reacted to it like it was a big deal. And you don't see that much anymore. This felt like a huge match, and the crowd. If the crowd was silent, I think this would have bombed. But the fact that they were so into it, I thought made it really. It did what it was supposed to, and that was promote the match. And I thought it helped the match. So. It was. And I think Goldberg, man, I wish he would shave that not shave, dye his goatee. I think he'd look like 10 years younger if he did that.
I always thought the same thing when I was a huge Kevin Nash fan, and when his hair would start to go gray, I don't know why I cared, but for some reason I did, and I don't know. I agree with that for some reason, even though I'm a guy that's about to start getting it coming, like I feel no different, but you know what I mean. But as a fan and as a kid, I don't want to see that happen. I don't know. I just didn't.
Yeah, I
with
agree.
Nash, it's not like a 10-year difference. It's like a 20-year difference. I mean, like when I found out, my wife and I always play this game of, hey, guess how old that guy is? And with Kevin Nash with gray hair, we were both like, I don't know, late 60s? No, 57. Yeah, but he just looks so much younger with dyed hair.
Yeah. You're right though. You should have colored it, and especially the way his physique looked. Like that was surprising because some angles he looked a little like I don't want to say sloppy and insult him, but he didn't look Goldbergish to me. The traps were kind of going a little bit, but then he had abs in the next screenshot, and I was like, "What the freak? He's actually in kind of sort of good shape."
Yeah, he was in really good shape. I don't know. I mean, how much of that was in preparation for this, and what kind of shape he was in before. But no, I mean, when he took his shirt off, I was like, okay, this guy looks ready to fight.
Yeah.
And Goldberg did get some good lines in that were, better than he usually does, I thought, with this promo. I mean, the stuff with Heyman talking and him telling him to shut up, he did that like 4 times, where after a while I was like, all right, either you keep going back in the script or it's getting redundant. But then Goldberg, he dropped some good lines. So I thought this was an effective segment. Again, I feel like this is a WrestleMania match, not a Survivor Series match, but it is what it is now. And I'm looking forward to it. To what Matt, you were saying earlier, it's the entrances and it's going to be a lot of them staring. But I think if the crowd is into it, that's really what you need. I mean, look at Rock and Hogan.
Yeah, and that's stuff that sucks me. I'll admit right now, like I love the whole 5-star match thing, and I love watching Cruiserweight. But with that said, guys, I also really am sucked in by the drama of it, the entrances, especially with someone like a Brock, intense entrance, Goldberg, long entrance, everything. It's just cool to me, and it sucks me in. And the whole face-to-face thing, even that stuff sucks me in. I love watching it. I get into it.
Someone's asking how much you think Goldberg is making for his appearance.
I don't freaking. Can I ask you something? Why do you care how much Goldberg is making? How does this affect your life? All right. Who the hell knows? Just throw some stuff out there. Let's say $1 million. No, 900,000.
Yeah.
Plus, more importantly, this is the entrance key back into the WWE. More importantly.
Yeah. And so, who do you think? We'll just do our Survivor Series picks, as we're going. But who do you think wins?
Between those two?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Brock Lesnar all day.
All right. Glenn?
It's so boring if Lesnar wins. It's just.
Why? I get boring. Goldberg, there is no payoff. Goldberg will.
I know.
back.
I know, but you know what I mean? It's just kind of like if it's the same outcome every time, then it just becomes like, who's Brock Lesnar going to destroy this? At least I want it to be a good fight. At least I don't want this to be like Randy Orton, where it just devolves into him tearing him apart.
He beat Undertaker. You really think they're just gonna let Goldberg come in and beat him again?
He could have stipulated it. That could have been the Goldberg stipulation.
Goldberg makes no sense.
Goldberg could have been like, I'll do this for $1 American if you let me win.
No, that makes no sense to have him win. Unless let's say the match gets over, then I think you should come back and you get Goldberg to agree to a couple more. Then you come back, have Goldberg beat Lesnar at Royal Rumble, and then do a third at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
but still has that in him. If he does, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want something. But the thing with Undertaker, though, he beat Undertaker, but those were really good matches, between the two of them. And I think that's the key. It's like, I just want that. I just don't want like the Dean Ambrose WrestleMania match where it's just kind of like phoning it in.
Listen, they screwed up in a way by having Brock beat Undertaker. They should have given it to somebody that was younger that really could have used that, right? But with that said, it made Brock look even more of a beast. So now Brock is the new Undertaker, in my opinion, that you hold that win for whatever the other guy, your homegrown talent, eventually beats Brock one day, and it means that much more. You don't give it to Goldberg, who comes in and out.
Yeah, about ending Undertaker's streak, who do you give that to, though? Like who really? I don't know who really would have been a better choice.
At the time, I remember thinking, like somebody like you're right. I can't name him now. I remember thinking, what's his name? Wyatt. I remember thinking. I remember thinking. I don't know, like maybe like one of the Shield members even. I hate to say it, even Reigns. I saw them thinking that way. I wouldn't have agreed with it, but I could see the Office thinking that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it would have been. Well, use one of your phrases, a fart in church, if you had like a Kevin Owens or someone end the streak, it has to be the right guy, and Lesnar at least has that credibility in that. And it's led to a lot of huge matches since. Lesnar was kind of, and let's move on here in a sec, but Lesnar was kind of going downhill there for a bit. His aura was kind of dying off a bit, and I thought that really brought him back.
Yep. His domination on Cena. Yep.
So let's talk about Nia Jax and Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks and Charlotte. At least okay. So we talked about this, the Team of Rivals idea. I actually thought this was interesting because of, as opposed to the tag teams when they did this, and as opposed to some of the other matches where it was people that had heat but not directed with each other. I mean, this is literally all we've had is Sasha versus Charlotte for months now, and all we've had, with Nia and Alicia. At least with this was their entire storylines to have them face each other. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Who wins that match?
That match, Sasha and Charlotte won tonight.
No, I mean at Survivor Series, the women's Survivor Series match.
I think Team Raw will probably do it just because Sasha and Charlotte are bigger stars. I would love for it to be Becky and SmackDown, but I don't think they'll get it.
I think SmackDown will probably be 3-2. Like they'll win the tag match, the Intercontinental and the Cruiserweight, and Raw will get the women's, and then the big one at the end.
I think honestly, I'll trade off this. I'm trading Intercontinental and women's with that.
You think the Intercontinental title will go to Raw?
Yeah,
it should.
So they'll have the U.S. and Intercontinental title on Raw
to create what we're thinking right now for about a week before they do something with it. Yeah,
because they'll have the Cruiserweight title on SmackDown.
Yeah, but that's that's not a fair trade-off.
Yeah, but the IC title, what has the IC title been since the switch? It's literally been Ziggler and The Miz.
It's still better than Cruiserweight. It's still
I know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not treating it like a division. It's literally been like one storyline for 4 months.
What he's saying though, Glenn, is you can't have US and Intercontinental. They're both seen as somewhat. Intercontinental's here.
They serve the same. They serve the same purpose.
I get what you're saying. But I could see that logic with the cruiserweights going over. Or else they have to do something drastically different with the IC title if they're keeping it on SmackDown. I mean, they have to open that up. So it's not.
I mean, they will. I mean, it's just the shallow depth. I mean, you've had Reigns against Rusev forever as well. It's just that's just they they don't have the depth right now with these split rosters, and by not bringing in these NXT talents, you know, you have a very finite pool to work with.
Okay, here we go. So here's the swerve. Zayn wins the IC title. They lure him back to SmackDown.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that solves a lot of problems.
That would be really good, actually.
Zayn should not be on Raw wrestling Bo Dallas.
No.
That is a waste of his talent and time.
Daniel Bryan said on the state of the WWE thing, he said that Cesaro and Sami Zayn told him that they want to go to SmackDown.
Love that.
Yeah. Love that he broke, called him Claudio. WWE. I just
He's been Cesaro for what, 5 years now. He's still calling him Claudio.
He was being real, you know?
Yeah, that's why Daniel Bryan is awesome on Talking Smack. That's why I mean Daniel Bryan is so dynamic, and that was the thing tonight. It's like he is the star. If you give him one of those segments where it's like just go out there and talk, he can do it in a way that's really interesting. But yeah, sometimes, and part of the reason why it's great is he forgets what he should say versus what he shouldn't say.
Yeah, he toes that line between a work and his real feelings. And brings his real feelings into, you know, a worked answer, and it just comes across so genuine that you feel like you're getting an honest opinion about a worked question, you know? Yeah.
So Enzo and Cass and Gallows and Anderson overcome their differences enough to beat the Shining Stars and the Golden Truth. I think if they would have lost that, we probably would have questioned the nature of the universe. So what do you think with the tag, the tag one? So with that, you're predicting, Raj, that SmackDown's going to win the tag match?
Yeah, I think SmackDown gets it 3-2.
Okay.
Way, Matt? Yeah, that's like invested.
I'll go with the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that with the SmackDown tag division. I don't know.
I just think whichever side wins the main event, they're gonna lose the number of overall matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There has to be a balance.
Yeah, and that would be the balance.
Or else one is the B show if it's an imbalance.
Let me be clear. If SmackDown wins the whole thing, they're still going to be considered the B show.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That should be the end. SmackDown should win every single matchup, and then at the end, Stephanie should come out and just be like, "Yeah, well, you're still SmackDown." Just
they would. That is precisely something she would do. Yes.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. SmackDown, the lead-in show to Shooter on the USA Network. I definitely see that. Shooter finally debuts tomorrow, by the way, after being delayed over the summer. So what we touched on at the top of the show, that face-off at the end, man. Like, so I dug that, and I really like the entrance. I really like that Daniel Bryan and Shane came out there to be confronted by the Raw Survivor Series team, and then the SmackDown team comes out from the audience. And I thought that was great, except for one detail, and I want to see what you guys think of this. Bray Wyatt wearing the blue SmackDown Live shirt. Anytime
I've seen him do that one other time, and it totally killed. I agree. That does his mystique. I mean, come on.
It's like when Eric Rowan was wearing the sheep mask, like, you know, celebrating after, I forgot whose title it was, but
after the Finn Balor one, right? When they all came out and did the curtain call.
Right. Yeah.
But that's character, right? I mean, you want that. I don't buy Bray
Wyatt. You just keep him off. You don't have him out there.
Yeah, Bray, like, give me one of them. Give me one of them shirts. I got to represent my team.
Yeah. Bray shouldn't have been wearing it. Randy Orton, who's who's in the middle of a heel turn since he's with Bray, should not have probably been wearing it either. But
and what's funny is the Raw guys. Okay, so this is one thing I really like because they did this around the draft. The Raw guys looked badass, and this was very comic book like, where they have their standard uniform, but with the complements with the black with the red complement color. You know, that's very sort of X-Men. Very comic book influence. I like when they do that, when they're in their gear, but it's color coordinated to their brand. But so with SmackDown just putting on a T-shirt,
I don't think that was meant to be. They were all in their regular gear.
You don't think there was a conscious decision to give them?
No, I think you watch too much theater. That's what I think.
Yeah, you think WWE thinks that much about it? Like Roman Reigns' outfit for this 1 week. Reigns has been wearing that for a while now.
But he's gone between the white and the red. I'm telling you, someone in the back thinks it would. I mean, let me put it this way. That's the cool way to do it. The cool way to do it isn't coming out wearing a SmackDown shirt. The cool way to do it is to coordinate your accent color.
They were all wearing their regular colors.
Okay. But anyhow, it was predominantly red, and it looked a lot better than the guys that it looked like you guys know this working for a company or going to a convention. It just looked like one of those, here's a free t-shirt, put it on. It's not matching t-shirts isn't cool.
Yeah, you know, it's always just getting deeper. Let's move on.
Except unless it worked for the NWO.
Yeah, a little different though.
Guys, could we please stop talking about?
Okay, so let's talk about the
T-shirts.
face-off. Yeah, so the face-off in the ring. But that being said, okay, so with Bray, I like that they had him confronting Braun. That made sense storyline-wise. That's why he's joining the team to go up against Braun. I like the little interplay there that they had with each other. I mean, for me, I think that and I mean the Goldberg Lesnar segment. I mean, definitely the high points of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, again, I thought when Stephanie was cutting her promo, I thought it was bad. And then once they stepped back and the SmackDown guys came in, the thing I didn't like is they do this every time where everyone just starts hitting their finishers and taking turns hitting finishers. And it's the last one that gets it. I wish they'd mix that up a little bit, but it was hot. It felt different. It was the first time that this match felt like it meant something. Yeah. And the crowd was hot for it. I mean, it felt important. And so I thought this was definitely the highlight of the show.
Well, and to what you guys, we were saying earlier with it, it's only been 4 months, but when we saw Bray, can't remember if it was Seth or Roman, but whichever one he put in the Sister Abigail, it was like, oh, hey, wait, I haven't seen that, or I haven't seen that in a while. Like that felt fresh where it was like, okay, we're doing the finishers on different people. Then it was like, oh, this is actually something kind of different than the status quo we've been treated to, for the past couple months. Like, I really like that element of it. It drove home that we are seeing something a little different with Survivor Series.
Everybody has a height. Those top guys on each show have a heightened role, like that weren't there before. Not Randy Orton, obviously, but the rest of the Kevin Owens, all those other guys have a much more significant role. Rollins, they just look like bigger stars. AJ Styles, all of them.
Yeah.
Except for Ellsworth. Good God.
He oh man.
Go away.
I like him. I feel like there should be you could have a role for him, but get him out of that main event picture. And I felt like he was turning heel that week when he kept interfering when Ambrose told him not to. Yeah. It's just irritating as hell. And
now the mascot.
But I wouldn't get rid of him. I mean, he's over with the fans, but he should not be in this main event spot. Come on.
So because he's being billed as the mascot of the SmackDown team, you think, and because Vince is supposedly really high on him, how much you want to bet Ellsworth interferes?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's front and center. I thought that was going to be the stakes. I thought Jericho was going there when he was asking about the guy. I thought Jericho, instead of putting on the list, was going to say the stakes were winner gets to keep Ellsworth or loser has to take Ellsworth.
Yeah. It would be great if this match had some stakes to it, like a draft pick or something.
Yes, significantly missing from this. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I mean, it's with the cruiserweight and with the IC belt, they've introduced some stakes on the lower. But yeah, it is very odd to have the main match, the main draw match, just be sort of like, this is the better brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So state of the WWE, we touched upon it at the top of it. The real moments were really good, but I thought that with Steph and Shane and Mick and some of that, like it was not as good as your average episode of Talking Smack.
No way, you guys. No. I know we gotta go, but I'm not gonna sit here and let you guys listen. No.
You thought it was better than like some of the Talking Smacks they've had?
Most of them, absolutely. For me, it was because I didn't give a crap about this pay-per-view at all, except for Goldberg Brock. That's all I cared about. And then I don't want to see the action of that match, by the way. I just wanted the entrances. That said, I thought they did a great job. Except for Stephanie. Yes, she steps on everything. I get that. But nonetheless, I thought that did a good job. Guys, think in the past. We didn't have things like that before. We used to go on the network and watch something where they're just flying off the cuff like that. And I think fans that appreciate when those moments happen, when there's that blurred moment of reality coming over with a worked environment, it makes you question it. And today, 2016, to do that is very difficult. And there's a lot of those moments, I thought, tonight's thing that made me, as a wrestler and as a fan, more excited for this.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Are they turning Mick Foley heel?
No, this is what Mick does.
Why? Because he is...
This is what he does.
He's man's ass something fierce lately. Like turning to her, be like, "Is it okay if I say this?" Or, "Oh wait, can I say this now?" Like just totally subservient. It's just I don't know if he's legit doing it or this is part of a storyline that's going to end up with something happening. But he just comes across as a fool lately with how much he's kissing Stephanie's ass, because the fans don't want to see that. The creative team should know that, and to have him first get browbeaten by her like as bad as he has a couple of times, and then on top of that, just kissing up to her and asking if it's okay to say certain things. I just think he looks so incredibly weak.
Well, let me answer that really quick. Mick did it in TNA as well. When Mick has an open promo, like when not too scripted or things like that, Mick, and he's about to hit on something that he's going to beat around the bush to finally come back to what he was talking about. It takes him a while, but he'll go all the way around the bend and come back to his point. But when he was obviously going in the angle of the whole charity thing. There's no question Stephanie McMahon is incredibly charitable, and he appreciates that. So in TNA, for instance, he did the same thing. We were doing a concussion angle, and Ken Anderson and Jeff Hardy, when he split Ken's head open with a chair, and it was really nasty, with a ladder. It was really nasty. Long story short, I was giving my brain, I'm donating my brain to Sports Legacy Institute for my concussion studies, things like that, once I pass away.
You are?
Yeah. So is Ken Anderson, and Mick made a promo out of that once, and he was like, he said it in the middle of the ring. He was like, I hope you guys don't mind if I bring this up. And he was very passionate about as he was saying that. So anytime you see him do that to somebody and say, hey, do you mind if I say this? I promise it's not him being subservient. And that's what sucks, because so many times Stephanie has buried him backstage and emasculated him, that here's something that was actually real and authentic coming out of Mick's mouth, and you and millions of other fans probably question, is this authentic or not, coming out of what's about to come out of his mouth? And I promise it was.
Well, why is he doing it? It
takes forever to come back to what he was talking.
Yeah, but why build up Stephanie right now when it should be?
He wasn't. He was trying to build. I promise he was trying to build up the charity thing, and he got.
But why build that out right now? This doesn't seem like the place for it when you're trying to build Survivor Series, and then to segue and talk about Stephanie's charity work for 5 minutes. That just didn't seem like the place. You do that on your Facebook, with one of his posts, but to do it when you're trying to promote this event this Sunday and to go off on a 5-minute tangent about Stephanie's charity work. Yeah, you pointed it out. I think people already knew that. They show that on video packages every week, Stephanie being a heel 1 minute and then, doing Connor's cure and all that. It just seemed completely out of place.
He was going to, Raj, and that's my point, is that he takes forever to get there. And he was going to take another 5 minutes, I guarantee it, to finally come back and say like one sentence about the Daniel Bryan question or Survivor Series. There wasn't a place for it, but that's what he does. And that's why you've got to be careful with Mick and giving him put him in that spot sometimes. He did it all the time at TNA. Go back and watch anything. You'll see it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Way around the bend that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, and then coming back with like.
But he never came back to anything.
Watch the pay-per-view. Shane cut him off.
Watch the pay-per-view this Sunday. After 20-minute dissertation on something else.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you,
Stephanie did all this charity work, and we're gonna beat you guys next week.
Yeah, like there were. I'll give you this. I thought there were really good moments in there. I thought Daniel was great as always. I thought it was a weird choice opening with Heyman and Renee. I mean, clearly they had to fill some time.
Yeah,
but when
that was nothing new, no new information in that. And I love Heyman, but man,
I love Heyman too, man. But Brock's doing a really good job talking for Brock lately. I mean, I thought last week Brock was really good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Heyman could just stand there and look intimidating for a change for a little while.
That would have been cool to see, bro. Yeah, that would have been different.
Yeah. Matt, sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
Oh, no.
I did want to ask you about UFC 205 once we're done with covering all this.
Yeah. But I think people should still stay the WWE. I think we should support them doing things like this. But and I will say this to it. I think anytime they do things like this, they're a little more of a shoot that are based off talking points. It's going to be more hit or miss. But I think that the more that the WWE does things like this, the greater chance we have for magic moments like what The Miz did with some of the stuff that Daniel's done. So I think it's good that they're giving people this platform and opportunity. But yeah, Mick is so eloquent he's such a good writer. And I just think when he's talking, sometimes it takes a while to get to that. Like you said, the beautiful nugget at the end. So yeah, let's talk about UFC 205. I did not watch it. But since then, so everyone's talking about Conor McGregor, like potentially WWE. Could that be in his future now?
Matt, what do you think?
I think a lot of people will be let down once they see how tiny he is next to an actual real superstar. I think people appreciate.
He's probably bigger than like Noam Dar and a lot of those guys.
That's my point. Like I don't necessarily think, I don't even think he's thicker than them, by the way. He might be the same height, and that's not gonna, I'm just telling you, his magnitude, his star, whatever you want to call it, his aura is much larger than what he physically is. And I don't think people, because he talks smack about like a Brock Lesnar and stuff like that, you can't put him anywhere within a mile of these guys, because I'm telling you, physically, it's just going, you got to be kidding me. No way.
Oh, you could do like they did with Ronda Rousey, except have McGregor in the Rousey spot and armbar Stephanie McMahon.
I'll take it. I just give him a mic. I just want to hear him talk.
Yeah, that promo he cut after he beat Eddie Alvarez, where he said, "First of all, I got to apologize for absolutely nothing."
That's great. And then cussing him out about not having his 2 titles. That was awesome.
Now, do you think, given Conor's past comments about WWE, you think, because a lot of the wrestlers are obviously not too thrilled about him possibly doing something with him. I mean, who knows if they will? He doesn't seem all that interested, but I'm sure with the right price he would. You think that's justified, that they'd be upset with him coming in?
Nope. It won't matter. It will not matter one iota if the locker room doesn't like him, cares, or is indifferent. It doesn't matter. It's all about them making money, and they'll make a good payday by bringing him in. They'll give him a great payday for him coming in. Never. It's not even say never anymore. It's like, think of any scenario of not that you think that you'll never see in WWE. I now think I will always see it. You know what I mean? We've seen so much happen in just the last 5 years. You know, that I just don't think anybody can never come back to WWE or start up in WWE.
Yeah.
I definitely think he'll be there. I 100% think one day we will see him there.
And under the anything is possible category, I would like to point out that, a WWE Hall of Famer and a former participant in main event is now the president of the United States. So
it's been a weird week.
President-elect of the United States. So I think it's shown that anything in the WWE is possible.
And it's looking like we're going to have a McMahon in his cabinet. So, there's that as well.
How involved, in what scope is Linda currently involved in the?
Well, they said today that it's looking like she might be a Secretary of Commerce, or she's at least in the running for that position.
But what's she doing in the WWE currently? What are her duties?
She hasn't been doing anything for a long time, since before her Senate run. So yeah.
She's better not to.
Yeah. So Trump and the McMahon, who'd have thunk it 4 years ago,
Oh my God, we are living in crazy times. So that being said,
I will say, I'm sorry, I know you're close. I will always say this. I always thought Jesse Ventura would be one hell of a president. Hell of a president. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Well, now everyone's saying The Rock.
Jesse thinks some crazy stuff, though.
Everyone's saying The Rock for 2020.
Hey,
he could trick people into voting for him all day. Hell yeah.
The Rock, yeah.
Obviously, popular vote.
Who knows anymore? I mean, we're in uncharted waters, so who knows?
Yeah, in many ways, modern politics and reality has become the WWE.
Yeah, 3 years ago, I said never would The Rock, even entertain it. It's unrealistic. There's no way he'd get anywhere close to running, but who knows now? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe not in 4 years, but I think as the population and his fan base ages, absolutely. I could absolutely see that happening. So that being said, so I know we missed last Wednesday. This Wednesday, Raj and I will be back, and Andrew Zarian from the Mat Men podcast will be joining us as a guest to discuss the 900th episode of SmackDown Live. And then Sunday, right after Survivor Series ends, the three of us will be back here to recap everything that happens. In the meantime, Raj, I'm sure you have a huge week on Wrestling Inc. coming up. What should people look out for?
It's gonna be really busy. Survivor Series, NXT takeover this weekend as well. So yeah, keep it locked in. We started a little late tonight, waiting for that State of the WWE thing. So we didn't get to many questions tonight, but we will get to some on Wednesday and go over the Survivor Series card in more detail. Detail. Why am I forgetting this word all of a sudden?
Detail. Cool. Matt, anything you want to plug?
James Ellsworth needs to be fired.
Dropping some truth. All right.
Okay. So on that note, everyone, we'll see you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.
Theater.